Hi, I'm Christopher, a research software engineer with Research Software Workshops, and it's a very warm welcome to part 8 of Git for Collaboration. The link to the material is at the bottom, and if you go to the branching section, you'll reach this page. At the start of this workshop, you forked the original upstream repository into your own fork in your own GitHub account. This allowed you to work in your fork without interrupting any work taking place in upstream. You then pulled changes from upstream into your fork via git pull upstream main, and you requested that upstream pulled your changes by issuing pull requests from your fork into upstream. Now, we can visualize your fork and upstream as being almost two parallel lines of development of this project. We have upstream here, and we have your fork here. Now, the circles represent individual commits onto those particular branches, onto those forks. So effectively, here's the initial original commit of upstream, and then when you forked it to create this commit, you then made a change and made this commit. Meanwhile, in upstream, there was a commit here, and then another commit. And then when you then pulled from upstream main into your fork, we pulled the changes across to merge at this point. And then you continued developing and upstream continued developing. Now these kind of like line and circle plots are very useful when you sort of think about the different branches of development of a particular project. And what's quite nice is that GitHub will helpfully draw these diagrams for you. So if you go to your project and then we look under Insights and then we come to Network, you'll see here we have this line and circles plot and we can drag it backwards and forwards. So we can see here, this is basically your Chris at Home branch, or your fork of the repository, and this is the original. So basically what we have here is we forked to get the project. We then made some changes. Indeed, we can click this. See, there's the project. We can actually see the commit that was involved totally. Meanwhile, there was a change made on the original, on upstream. That was then pulled in, and that's, you can see there's the merge commit for that. Here was another change on the original. That was pulled in. There's the merge commit for it. You then made a change when you wanted to make a gas oven. But look, this is the change when in upstream they wanted an electric oven. Here you made the merge to try and resolve that conflict. Continue to work with gas. This continue to work with electric. There is your merge again, where you resolve that conflict. More work on electric. Then here you sort of again resolve that conflict. And then look, this was the person saying we really do absolutely want to have electric. And you then decided to resolve it in and made everything fine. And then you now continue developing on your branch. So these kind of line and circle plots, they're really, really useful, because then they let you see how your fork relates to other forks of development of the project. Now, your fork of upstream represents a separate branch of development of upstream within your particular repository in origin. Now, this branch of development, you can think of sort of upstream being one branch of development and your origin being another branch of development. We actually give this branch a name, and that name is main, and that's why you can see this is linked here and mentioned here. Upstream main is the line of development of the original repository, and origin main is the branch of development for your repository. Now we use the word main really as a convention to name the primary branch of development within the fork. So I said upstream main is the primary branch of development in upstream, and origin main is the primary branch of development in your fork. Remembering that origin is the default name that we give to your repository. Now it is actually possible to create additional branches of development within a repository. These branches kind of behave a bit like forks, but they're within the repository itself. So it's easy to sort of understand this by sort of doing it. So we'll go back to the main homepage of your fork of the repository. So this is origin. We're currently in origin main. And what we can do is if you click on this sort of main drop down here, this is the branches drop down. And when you click in it, you can see all of the branches that currently exist within this particular repository. And there's just main at the moment, which is the default branch. Now you can create any branch that you wish by basically clicking here and then typing its name. So for example, let's say that we want to create a branch to do the work where we're trying to create the corner of the kitchen that's going to be for Thompson the cat. Well, we can name this branch anything we want. I'd recommend naming it something that's related to the project. So let's call this cat corner. And now that I've done this, notice that this part changed to now say, aha, you want to create the branch. And if I now click this, I've now created a new branch of the project called cat corner. If we click down, we can see, indeed, view all branches, there's main, and then there's cat corner. We have both of them. And you can switch between the two of them by going down. Here we're in cat corner, and there we're in main. So this is origin main, and now this is origin cat corner. Now, this branch currently exists on GitHub. We'd like to bring that branch back to our working directory. And we can do that by just typing git pull. And you can see that in the git pull, we've been told, look, there's now a new branch. And we've now created that new branch, cat corner locally, which is mapping to origin cat corner. So your fork on GitHub, the cat corner branch. Now to switch between branches, we use the git checkout command. So I do git checkout cat corner. I have now switched to the cat corner branch, and indeed if I type git status now, it will tell us we're now on branch cat corner, which is up to date with origin cat corner, the branch which exists on GitHub. Now we can make changes on this branch, and these changes will not affect anything on the main branch. So for example, let's say now I want to sort of add in the stages which are to involve with basically setting up Thompson's corner. So I'm going to edit planning stage 1. Okay, and I want to install Thompson's corner. So basically he's going to need, let's see, underneath the oven. Okay, we've got install Thompson's corner. We need to add in, effectively install the automatic cat feeder. And I'm also going to basically install the water bowl. So now they're included, I'll save this file. Git status, we can see the file has been edited and we're on branch cat corner. And I'm going to commit and push this change. Working on the cat's corner. Okay, so that's now being pushed up to GitHub and it's being pushed into the cat corner branch. If we take a look on GitHub, we can now see, yep, cat corner's recent pushes less than a minute ago. In the cat corner branch, let's have a look at the file just to make sure it's there. There we are, we can now see those additional lines that we've added. But if we now switch back to the main branch, those lines don't exist because we've only made the changes on the cat corner branch. There we are. Indeed, if we now go back to that insights page, we can see it's updated the graph for us. So if we go back to the network, here we are, you can now see from our origin main, we have now forked, or basically we've now branched into a cat corner branch, and we've now made a commit working on cat's corner there. And again, as with all of these things, you click on it and you can see immediately what that commit was. It's very, very nice to be able to sort of go through these things. Now we can also represent this graph using sort of that line and circles plot. So I've taken you all the way through this bit, and essentially, there we are. So what we've done is we've basically taken a branch from origin main to origin cat corner, remembering that we forked from upstream main to origin main. You can see some little pulls that we made across here, and there we've now branched and made origin cat corner. If we make more commits to cat corner, we'll just keep adding them onto the end of this branch, and you'll end up with an insights diagram and sort of circle and lines diagram that would look something like this. So this brings us to our sort of first exercise of this page. Have a go at making some more changes to planning stage 1 MD and commit and push them to the cat corner branch. And then take a look at the network view on the GitHub Insights page and basically see if you can see those commits and it looks as you would expect it to look. So if you press pause, have a go at that, and then I'll show you like me doing it as well once you come back from pause. Okay, you're now back from pause. I'm now going to do this as well. So let me add a few more things to the Cat's Corner branch. So just going to clear this with Control L. What else do we need? Let's put in some kitty litter, litter tray, install scratch toy. Loads of things we have to do for a cat. Git commit -a, more stuff for Thompson. Git push, and there we are. We always do a git status. I like my git statuses. We're on branch cat corner. It's up to date with origin cat corner. And now let's go and have a look at the network graph. Just reload the page. There we are. We can now see that new commit that we've made. More stuff for Thompson's. There's now 2 more commits after we made that branch from origin main to origin cat corner. Now it's really easy to switch between branches. So as I showed you on GitHub, it's literally just the case of just choosing the different branch from this drop-down menu. On the command line, it's also extremely easy. Whoops, let's go back there. Keep clicking on that. There we are. It's all just very, very easy. So effectively, if I type git checkout and then the name of the branch, I've now switched branch. So we can check that if I just have a look at the planning stage 1 MD. You can see this is the one that doesn't have anything to do with Thompson, because if I do git status, you can see we're on origin main. But if I now type git checkout cat corner, I'm now on the cat corner branch. There we are, we can see we're on cat corner. And if I look at the file, we can see, look, here are the additions that we've made on the cat corner branch. So you see it's really easy. You can sort of work on little bits of the project without affecting the main project. And so it's almost like having a backup. You can sort of work in the branch, and if you don't like it, you haven't actually broken the original. It's really cool. It means, again, you can just never lose anything when you're working with Git. Equally, if you have multiple people working together, they could perhaps be working on different things in different branches and thus not interfering with each other. Now, as well as being very easy to switch between branches, and indeed one thing I should say is if you want to list all the branches you've got, if you type git branch, you can immediately see which 2 branches you have. Git checkout main, git branch again. You can see we flipped between main to cat corner. I'm just going to go back to cat corner here because I think that's what I'm going to need for later on in this workshop. There we are on the branch cat corner. So we've kind of now gone through this. Branches, you might be thinking, what's the difference between a branch and a fork? To be honest, branches and forks are pretty much the same thing in terms of how you use them. So on the underneath, they're slightly different. A fork is a complete copy of a repository in somebody else's account. So it's a completely separate .git folder, effectively, whereas a branch is within the same .git folders within the repository, and it's just a separate branch of development. But in terms of how you use branches and forks, you use them in pretty much the same way. And you can really consider a branch as being a fork within your repository. This means that you can pull changes from one branch to another, and you can also issue pull requests from one branch to another. So for example, if we're going to go back to maybe the main branch, so let's go back to the main branch here. So I was actually wrong at that point. Let's go git checkout main. Okay, in the main branch, what we're going to do is we're going to edit the stage 1 MD, and we're going to add an extra line to the bottom, similar to the last line that I've put into the notes. So if I'm going to do nano planning stage 1 MD, and then right at the bottom, I'm going to add, this is another line added to demonstrate pulling between branches. Okay. So it's just a line that I've added to planning stage 1 in the main branch on origin. Save that. Then I'm going to basically commit it. Git status, we can see that's fine. Git commit -a, adding a change to origin main, which we will use to demonstrate pulling between branches. Okay. Push this up to GitHub. Okay, it's now been pushed up and it's now quite fine. Again, if we now take a look at the insights diagram, This is always a good thing to use if you're just basically thinking about the branches that you're working on. Let's reload this. There we are. We can now see there's been this extra commit here, which is the main one we've made. But you can just see there are these previous 2 commits to the cat corner branch. Okay, so now to bring this change into cat corner, what we do is we first switch to the cat corner branch with git checkout cat corner. Okay, so I'm now on the cat corner branch. And if you remember, when we were pulling from upstream, we would type git pull upstream main. Now we're pulling from the main in origin. So the command is really just the same. It's now git pull origin main. So git pull origin main. There we are. That's now pulled it in, and it's now merged it. And oh, it's actually said it's a conflict. Just noticed that there. So indeed we have a merge conflict in this point, and so yeah, we can now resolve that merge conflict. So let's go into planning, stage 1 MD, and there's a conflict just because we have these additional things on the end. So I'm going to resolve this just in the same way that we did before, and indeed I'm taking both of the changes this time, so we have everything fine and together. Okay, now we've done that, we can commit the change. There we are, it's all fine. And now we've completed it, we can now push this back up to GitHub. Okay, if we now look at the network diagram, just taking its time to load that. There we are. We can now see we've now pulled that change that we made in main, and now it's been pulled into cat corner. And notice how these commits are in time order. So this merge has come after the commit we made here, kind of logically as we went through. Now, in much the same way we could basically pull from origin main into cat corner, we could also issue pull requests between branches as well. So for example, I could issue a pull request to pull the changes that I've made here in cat corner and pull them into main. So the way that we're going to do this is we go back to the main page of the project and we switch to the cat corner branch. It sometimes even brings up the little compare and pull request because it's trying to be really, really helpful. Now you can click on the compare and pull request and it will populate the things for you. And indeed that might be the easiest thing to do. But you can also, there's the pull request button here, and if you click on that, it will sort of, again, pre-prepare things. But in this case, what you've got to make sure you're doing is you're doing the pull request into the right branches and the right spaces. So at the moment, this is doing a pull request from origin main, so from origin cat corner into upstream main. So you can see this is the original repository. So we need to change this over to be origin rather than upstream. Once we've done that, notice that we've now lost the actual repository from this list here. So we now just have the 2 branches within the same repository. So now we're going to issue a pull request from cat corner in origin to main in origin. Now we have to fill in the details for this. We can see we can merge it because there are no conflicts. We actually just resolved that conflict. And we could fill in the details here, working on Thompson's corner. But to be honest, when you're working within your own repository, you sometimes don't even need to do this. It depends if you're working with lots of other people. So always do fill this in if you're working with other people. But if you're on your own, you could probably get away with not writing so much. Okay, now we've made this, we can then click Create Pull Request. And so we're now asking for these changes to be pulled from origin cat corner into origin main. There are no conflicts. And so you can now decide that you would like to merge the pull request. And we can indeed do this if we click Merge Pull Request. We can then confirm the merge again. You can put a little message in here if you want, but we're just talking to ourselves at the moment, so there's no point. And now that we've merged the changes for cat corner into main, there isn't really a need now for this cat corner branch to continue to exist. It's satisfied its purpose. Its purpose was to help us work on implementing the feature of working on the cat corner. And now we've finished the cat corner, we've pulled those changes into main, there's no real need for the branch anymore, and we can click just delete branch. And there we are, the branch has now been deleted. Note that again on Git, you never lose anything, you don't ever permanently delete anything. You can always restore the branch later. It's just a way of making things a bit cleaner so that when we come to the main project and we look at the branches, we now don't have cat corner listed anymore. Now if we go and look at the insights graph, so again we'll look at the network, what you'll see here is this was the cat corner branch, and we had the original branch, the extra commit, then we did the pull from main into cat corner, and then here's the pull request back to main, and now the cat corner branch doesn't exist anymore. Cool. So, as I go back, I think that should be everything. And indeed, if we look at this in terms of the circle and diagram, the circle and line graph, I've gone all the way through this part of the workshop. You can see here we had the original here's upstream main, we did the fork into origin main, we developed, we've pulled the changes across, we kept going, we then branched into origin cat corner, made some changes, there was a change in origin main, we pulled that in, and then finally we issued a pull request from origin cat corner into origin main and brought it down so we can continue developing onto origin main from this point. Now if I go to the actual working directory, because obviously I made these changes on GitHub, I've got to try and make these changes now in my working directory. If I type git branch, I can see I'm currently on cat corner, but to be honest now I don't need cat corner anymore. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to main, because this is where we've made the changes. And now I'm on main, I can see if I type git status, it thinks they're up to date, but of course we've made changes on GitHub. And so if I now type git checkout main, if I now type git pull, and let me do this the other way. Let me go to cat corner first because you can see the error, the actual status message directly. So I'm going to go back to cat corner, git pull, and indeed it's even now telling me that something's gone a bit weird because it's now lost the cat corner which was sitting on GitHub. It's lost origin cat corner. Now if I do git checkout main, because we did the pull first, it knows that the main that we have currently on our working directory is 4 commits behind the main that's sitting on origin, so the main on GitHub, because obviously in GitHub we've completed the pull request, we pulled those changes in from the cat corner branch. As it says, I can use git pull to update my local branch, and I will do that. And now you can see it's now fast forwarded stage 1, it's added a few more lines to it, it's deleted another line, and if I look at planning stage 1.md, you can see up here we have the lines that were added in the cat corner branch, and here's the line that we made in the main branch. Now if I type git branch, you can see that I still have the local copy of the cat corner branch, even though I deleted that branch on GitHub in origin. Now we can delete branches locally by typing git branch -d and then the name of the branch to get rid of. So git branch -d cat corner will delete the branch. Again, nothing is really deleted in GitHub, it's just kind of now hidden it away so it doesn't exist. And now if I type git branch, we can see, yep, we're back to just having one main branch. Easy to understand, we can then work with that without any issue. So that's taken us all the way through this part here. Now we've now basically given you effectively a few more commands for our Git cheat sheet. So we've given you an additional use of the git checkout command, which is how you can check out a branch of a repository. Sort of an addition to git pull to show how you can make changes and pull changes from the repository in terms of like pulling from different branches. And we've also shown you the git branch command, which is how you can get information about the branches you have locally and also how to delete them. So if we just look at these, some small little changes that we made. Here we are, 6C, typing git checkout branch will check out to the local working directory the branch called whatever the branch name is. So git checkout main switches you to the main branch, git checkout cat corner took you to the cat corner branch. We then had an additional use of pull. So git pull remote branch will pull that branch from remote. So remember we had git pull upstream main would pull the changes in upstream main branch to your like current working directory. If we type git pull origin cat corner, that would pull the changes in the cat corner branch in Origin to our local working directory. And then finally we have this new command, git branch. Git branch on its own prints out all the information about all of the branches in the repository which currently exist in your working directory, and then git branch -d, name of the branch, so git branch -d cat corner, deleted the branch called cat corner. Okay, a little exercise at the bottom. I'd like you to create a new branch in GitHub. I want you to commit some changes, issue a pull request from that branch to main to pull those changes into main, accept the pull request, and then delete the branch. And then check on the GitHub network view that you can see exactly what happened. It kind of represents what you thought happened. So, press pause, have a go at this, and when you come back from pause, I'll also do this as well. Okay, you've now come back from pause, so I'm going to work through this as well. So let me go back to Super Project. I'm going to create a branch. I'm going to do painting walls. So create the branch paint walls. Okay, this is now the paint walls branch. I'm now going to go across here, git pull. So it gets information about the branches, so it can see we now have this new paint walls branch. Git checkout paint walls. I'm now on the paint walls branch. There we are, everything is fine. If I now just clear this so we have a clear screen, edit this file, and I'm basically going to say, let me say we've installed the lights, tile the walls, so I'm going to want to paint the walls before I tile the walls. Paint the walls. And then let them dry. Don't know, I've never made a kitchen, you can tell. Okay, so we've made a change. We're in the paint walls branch. We made a change to the file. We will now commit this change. Working on painting the wall. Push this up to GitHub. Okay, it's now been pushed. If I now look on GitHub, we can see, yep, we've made a push. Look under the insights, under the network. Here we are. Here's the paint the walls branch that we've made. That was the cat corner branch. Here's the paint the walls branch. It's come from Origin main to Origin paint the walls. And then what we need to do next is we need to now issue a pull request to bring those changes back into main. So I'll go back to the project. I will make sure that I'm in the paint the walls branch. And this time I'm going to click the compare and pull request button because it knows what I want to do. GitHub is quite clever. So I need to make sure I'm issuing a pull request from Origin paint the walls into Origin main. At this point, this is upstream main. So if I change this to Origin main, there we are. We're issuing a pull request from Origin paint walls to Origin main. Don't need to write a comment because this is just for myself. Create the pull request. Yep, this can be merged automatically. So now when I type merge pull request, confirm the merge. There we are, it's now done, and I don't need the branch anymore. I can now delete it. If I now look at the network graph, there we are, we can see we made that little painting the walls branch, and then we've come back to the bringing it back into main. Again, I'm going to bring these changes locally. So I'm going to do git pull. It shows that we've deleted this, so let's go back to main, git checkout main. We're behind, so we need to fast forward, git pull. It's brought the change in. Git branch, I don't need the paint the walls branch again, so git branch -d paint walls. The branch is now gone, where everything is up to date, and if I now look at the file, you can see there we are, the paint the walls has now been included into the plan of work. Now, one of the nice things about branches, we tend to use branches when we're adding in new features, but you may remember back in the first workshop when we went back in time to look at an old commit, and I said this was a read-only view, you couldn't really make any changes from it. Well, you can actually create a new branch from any committed version in the repository. So if you navigate to an old commit and then create a branch, that branch will be from the old version of the files. So literally if I go to my super project, and I then decide to go back in time to a particular branch, I can create a new branch from that old version. So essentially, let's go back to before we even went to have electric. So I'm going to go back to this one here. So I can browse the code at this point with this part, and if I now type old branch, you can see it's now saying create old branch from this commit. So I click that, and now old branch basically is a now editable version of the past, where if we look at stage 1 MD, it's like the really old one with almost nothing in it. So that's like pretty cool. This is how you can go back in time and begin editing things that were in the past. Of course, if you don't need the branch anymore, you can just delete it. And indeed, if I do the view all branches, you can also delete branches from in this menu here. So I could just click delete to get rid of it, and it's now gone. And you can restore them as well. So if I look in sort of the all branches, you can see the older ones that we made. Where are they? They do hide. We'll find them somewhere. They do exist. They just try and make it so you can't really find them because you have really deleted it. Cool. And so that's one way of using branches. You can use it to branch from the past, but equally you can also use branches to basically work on old releases of projects. So if you're thinking in terms of software, every time you make a release, or maybe every time you make a version of a paper, you could create a branch for that version of the paper or for that release. And then if you ever need to backport in any changes to that old version, you can do it in the branch without having to sort of do anything in the main branch. It just makes things a bit easier. If you then have sort of multiple versions of something, you can use multiple branches to handle the multiple versions. So okay, that's brought us to the end of the branching section. If you click next, you go on to the next section, and I look forward to seeing you in the next workshop.